Hi everybody, and welcome to the Wild West of Stratford, here for an extra special Red Dead Redemption 2 breakdown video. It's just like a normal breakdown video, but with 200% more yeehaws. I am joined by Tom Regan, who somehow has finished the game already, and I want to stick a straw in his brain and drink it down like a fine cactus wine. But instead, I'm going to do the next best thing and just ask him some questions, innit? Alright, we know that there's some questions that you guys are dying to have answered, so here are some timestamps. You can click ahead to them if you've got zero patience. In the meantime, we're going to be trying to avoid any major spoilers, but if you want to go into the game completely blind, then why have you clicked on this video? First of all, I know this is a horrible question, but if you could sum up the game in one word, what would it be?
One word, 70 hours, just one word. This has been good use of my time, clearly. I'm gonna go for staggering.
Staggering. Well, there you go. You don't need to read his review now.
See you later, guys.
That's all it was going to be, just the word staggering.
Can I go home now?
Elephant in the room here. We know that a certain character from earlier on in the series makes an appearance in this game. Are you happy to talk about that at all?
We're talking about John Marston, which I assume you
John Marston's in the game?
Yeah,
I thought we were talking about Pig Josh from Red Dead Revolver.
We're not, but yeah, I appreciate the throwback. We've got a throwback. So yeah, John Marston is in the game. We do find out how he got his scars, and he plays a different kind of role in the gang to what you'd expect. And I don't want to spoil things, but fans of the original are going to be pretty pleased with
He's a damsel in distress, tied to a train track.
Who can say? Who can say?
You find out how he gets his scars?
Yeah.
Shush! Don't say any more. So there's this whole interaction system where in previous Rockstar games, in GTA 5, you can walk around, press square and go, hello, hello. It's so much more fleshed out in this game. You always have multiple options to interact with NPCs. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I really like this because, as you said, in other Rockstar games, especially GTA and Red Dead, your main way to interact with people is by drawing a gun at them, right? Just being horrendous. Every time you press left trigger, there's different ways to interact with people. Whether it's a dog that you can scold or praise and then come over and eventually pat.
Oh, that's so lovely.
Which is just awesome.
Can you still pull a gun on it though?
If you wanted to, yeah.
Oh, thank goodness.
I actually was just rolling through a farm, just taking in the sights, having a great time. Someone started shooting at me. I went to pull my gun, got off my horse, and the dog just went for my throat and took me out. I got a little fucking spaniel.
You should have praised him.
Yeah, I should have praised him. But yeah, what I like about it is when you're riding on the dusty trail, you'll just encounter people. You can greet, antagonize, rob. If someone comes over to you, if you bump into their horse and they start trouble, you can diffuse, antagonize. And when you're just in town, you can again greet, rob, and do that thing. So it's really nice. You hear different dialogue from different people. Some people just look at you weirdly if you say hi.
Really?
Other people will say something. Women might flirt with you.
It sounds like they've smashed it.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, again, it is a video game. There are limitations. Not everyone's going to have a fully fleshed out story, but it really drags you into the world and makes you feel like they're individuals that you're speaking to.
When I interact with people in real life, I either greet, antagonize, or rob. So it's so clever that they've made it so realistic, so real to my life.
I mean, when I see you going out for lunch, you often just go howdy and then just bump into people. So you're going to love it.
And so like 60 hours into the game, were there still interactions and still little voice lines that you hadn't heard before it kept surprising you, and great to hear that. Okay,
yeah,
cool.
I think as well with that, like the original, there's side quests, right? Things happen organically through the world, and by the end of the game, there are a couple of things where I knew what they would do. Like, in the first game, you kind of got an inkling when people were going to rob you and when things were wrong. There were a couple of things like I saw a couple of people trapped in bear traps. I knew by the sound what that was.
Sure.
But over 60 hours, that was like 2 or 3 different incidents that I knew would occur.
Okay.
Which is pretty impressive.
Yeah, pretty impressive, dude.
Yeah.
Explains why it's a 90 gigabyte game.
Yeah.
Crammed it full of content. Okay, next question. The moment-to-moment gameplay. I imagine the vast majority of it is going to be riding a horse, walking, shooting, maybe a bit of punching. What's the variety like in the gameplay?
So, there's a lot of riding. Obviously, I'm playing this game very differently to most people because I had,
your eyes closed.
Yeah, which is great. My ear. But I had a very short space of time to do this. I was very focused on doing the story mission and just trying to do things organically when they came up. But the thing that surprised me was how much riding there is and how little fast travel there is. You can spend a lot of time galloping, which is part of the fun because horse riding feels great. And the vistas are stunning. This is one of the best looking games I've ever seen. HDR, complete system seller. You need to get an Xbox One X.
That's question 8 ruined.
Cheers.
Thanks a lot, mate.
Saving you more time. Timestamps. Don't worry about those. But yeah, the thing you'll be doing the most is horse riding. Combat is very similar to GTA, as you remember it. You look to cover, you can shoot. You've got the red eye from the previous game.
Yeah.
I thought the controls are kind of clunky initially, actually, but as you level up your characters by doing things, like if you keep running, your stamina bar goes up.
Oh my god, they've got that whole sort of RPG light thing from
Yes.
San Andreas. That's
yes.
back.
Yes, yeah, exactly like that.
Oh,
And
I
that was
can't wait.
really nice. Shooting, there's a lot of shooting. You kill so many cowboys, but the actual missions do feel quite different.
What's the gunplay like? I saw a little bit of gameplay over your shoulder. Whoopsie, sorry. I haven't signed an NDA,
I
anybody.
didn't even know he was there. It's a bit creepy. I was in the dark, my headphones on.
Your fault for having your eyes closed. But I did see a bit of gameplay over your shoulder. And am I wrong in thinking it looked like the aiming reticule shrunk the longer that you were aiming, which sort of emulates real life shooting, I imagine. If you want a quick fire, it's going to be less accurate. If you want to take your time with your shot, you're going to be more accurate. That's cool.
And then also your guns as well. There's so many systems in this game, which we'll touch on later, a ridiculous amount. But the thing is, the guns, not only can you upgrade them to make them better, you have to clean them. If you don't clean them and take care of them, all the stats slowly go down. I've been wondering, I was like, why is it harder to hit these people? I realised I hadn't cleaned them in a few hours, and I was like, this is ridiculous.
And also you've got to clean your horse, right, as well. Do the horses' stats drop?
I mean, the way they've implemented horses is one of my favourite things in the game. For Breath of the Wild, it was another game where your horse was a huge part. It would kind of level up as you went on.
Yeah.
This is very much the same thing, but what really brings the horses to life is the animations are incredible. One time at the start, I didn't realise that jump was actually a button. I thought it would auto jump over a fence. So I was just galloping along, went over, stacked it over the fence. The way the horse contorted, all its bones fell. Kind of fell on the floor, neighing in pain. I felt awful.
Oh my
I felt like a
God.
terrible human being. So what you have to do is, over time, there's things that help you and your horse bond grow, which increases its stamina, health, and all that. Which is you can pat it, you brush it,
Can you feed it?
yeah, you feed it, yeah,
Can you give it compliments?
yeah. You go, "Here
Can you bring
go,
it home to meet
easy
your
go."
parents?
I mean, you can, but you don't have any parents. You're an outlaw. But I mean.
Spoiler alert!
Spoiler, yeah, sorry. There's a small thing which is a really nice touch that I kept forgetting to do is that if you actually take the time to hitch your horse to a post rather than let it wander around and be scared alone, that increases the bond as well.
Oh my god.
And when it's hitched, you can come over to it, target it like left trigger, just like you would a person, calm it, pat it,
Rob it.
But yeah, you can rob it, antagonise.
Give me those shoes.
You can actually punch your horse if you want it to get away in a situation where it's in
To
danger.
save it, you can give it a slap on the rump.
It's the same melee button. You
Oh,
just
is it?
punch.
What? That's.
I accidentally.
Sorry, a second ago you felt sorry for it because it fell over, and now you're giving it a
I
thumb.
accidentally punched it in the face, and it was like.
Oh, that's amazing. That
But
sounds so good.
again, like more tangent on the horses. But so I had you name your horses and you bond them and you keep them at the stable. And when you upgrade,
Bojack?
them, yeah, Bojack,
Classic.
Bojack and Bojack the second, both died. And you get an item called a horse reviver to revive them. But if you die at the same time as the horse, it's gone. It's
A
gone.
horse reviver.
That
What does
well-known
that look like?
tool.
What is it?
A
What is it in
syringe.
the game? It's a syringe.
Yeah.
Oh, that feels very like video gamey for a
Yes.
Rockstar game, doesn't it?
Weirdly, the only very video gamey parts of the game are the horses. When you go to a stable and when you see a horse in the wild, which you can do,
Yeah.
sometimes you'll encounter someone trying to tame a wild horse and it just runs off, and you can choose to go catch it and tame
Oh,
it.
that's so cool.
Once you've studied it, you can see its stats. And outside of the guns, that's really the only stats you see in the game.
Oh, that's so cool.
Hmm.
Great. So guns and horses are given the video game treatment.
Yeah.
Great, awesome. Yeah, I mean, one of the best things about the first Red Dead Redemption was the animation on the horses and their muscles. You saw the muscles tense. That's the one thing that everyone remembers. So it sounds like they've doubled down on that, which is a good idea.
And they're constantly again, fans of that.
Did they in the first one?
Yeah.
We can't say that, can we?
You can bleep it out.
Do they do? Do the horses
I'm pretty
do?
sure I did in the first one, but now they're always doing it.
Just punch it back in. Okay. Hey, would you look at that? It's time for another question. Do the actions that you perform in the game have a larger scale effect on the entire world?
Yeah, so like in Grand Theft Auto and Red Dead before it, there's the basic thing of if you cause trouble in a town, if you get seen robbing, murdering, assaulting people, you're going to have a bounty, you're going to get wanted. Interesting thing is though, when you get quite wanted, it changes the whole game world. People will come out, you just be riding around the same gorge you've always ridden down, but this time there might be a gang of mercenaries hiding on rooftops
Oh my
and stuff.
god.
And it's not
That's
just...
the coolest thing I've ever heard in my whole life.
It gets better because it's not just that, not just punching someone. Every kind of action you do seems to have a morality thing. So you get, say for example, there's a blind man in the street, you give him $1. That's fine. If you find
$1 back then?
Yeah, it's a lot.
I'd given him a briefcase full of cash.
Pretty much, yeah.
Have my house, have my horse.
Yes, if you see a woman, say, whose her horse has died or she's got lost in a wagon crash or something, and you choose to take them back to town, they might reward you with cash, but ultimately you get a nice plus point in your morality meter. And it also kind of affects how you handle missions and stuff, because you get choices. Some characters you walk over to them and they'll say, hey, I really need some help here, I want to do this. And you can accept or decline.
Sure.
And there are big moments in the game where you can choose to approach a mission a certain way. And what I like about it is it's not always clear which is the good choice, which is the bad choice. It's just a choice. And it'd be interesting to see, I haven't replayed any missions yet to see how that affects it. But yeah, you feel like everything you do kind of adds up, and it feeds into the game's themes, because once you've been bad, it feels like it's a lot harder to redeem yourself, to gain redemption, and it's easier to just then throw caution to the wind and be that guy.
In a game that you're playing a cowboy outlaw, it feels like it may be punishing you for behaving immoral.
Interestingly, right, so early on, you don't have a lot of cash, and when you do cause ruckus, you cause trouble in town, you don't have the cash to pay off those bounties, and you're gonna have a lot of trouble. The music changes, it gets more tense,
Can you give us an impression of that music quickly?
First it's like, and then,
right, everything sounds good.
When things
that
get
sounds
bad,
fine to
and
me.
it's like, all like, rattling tambourines, like,
whoa, what have you done wrong?
Oh, no, yeah.
Oh God!
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm a bit on edge now. Can I have the nice
Didn't mean to
music?
say, I'll bring you back. Bring you back to the world. But that's what I really like about it. One thing that did annoy me though, say you're on a mission, or someone attacks you and kills you. For me, I'm just a bit OCD. And one thing I'm really OCD about video games is I always loot people. I want to get all their stuff. If they're dead,
You want to get that $1 back off that homeless guy? I'll have that back.
yeah, I want to get whatever they've got. What annoys me is someone starts a fight with you and you kill them, or even if you kill someone on a mission, but they're deemed a good person and you loot their body, you get a bad point. That wound me up a little bit.
But I mean, that's just like real life. If you're going around robbing dead bodies, you're not a priest, are you?
They're already dead.
Ooh, someone's been in the Wild West too long.
Just watching you in the lunch breaks again, mate.
You're staring at my pockets during this video going, no, I can't wait to get my hands on there. Right, next question. Enough fun. We're here for serious answers quickly. Hey, mate, here's a question I've just thought of off the top of my head.
Go for it, buddy.
Do you feel the game utilises current gen consoles to their fullest?
Yes. I mean, it's no secret that this is Rockstar's first attempt at using current gen consoles. And my God, I mean, I mentioned this briefly, but the HDR especially is stunning.
Really?
Even kind of 30 hours in, there'd be moments where I just stop and just kind of just look around at the vistas.
When you were 30 hours in on day one and you were just going, wow, I remember being there this morning.
After 20 cups of coffee, and just staring at the sunset. No, it's a constantly... It's the best looking game I've ever seen, and I mean...
Holy smokes, that's a hell of a claim.
Because not only... the one thing I would say, some of the hair looks a bit off and a couple of textures a little ropey, but given the size and scope of the world, there's barely any loading screens.
How big is the world? I'm so sorry, how big is it?
4 times the size of the original.
Get out of Dodge!
Yeah.
That's crazy,
It's
4 times.
So I've completed the
Bit too big?
game. So again, I told you
How
this.
funny I'm so sorry, but that's something that never gets mentioned. It's always spoken about a bigger world equals better. But in my personal experience, my personal view, not always. Witcher 3 is a bit too big, guys.
I mean,
that's
not
fine.
to be that guy, but Ubisoft worlds are big, but they're kind of empty, filled with collectibles. It's not how big the world is; it's how alive and
how real
populated.
it feels.
Exactly, it feels.
You want a big world because you don't want to feel the edges. That's the whole idea, right?
Exactly, and I think what Red Dead, again, it's just attention to detail in every aspect of it. It feels huge, and it works because not only is there an insane amount of attention to detail in it, but the different biomes and areas you go to are so varied that it keeps it fresh. Every time I started to feel like, I'm in another kind of dusty bit, I'm shooting some guys, suddenly it would change. I don't want to spoil the biomes too much, but there's a swampy bit, there's a snowy section. It just feels
For someone that doesn't want to spoil the biomes, you sure just have.
There's a couple of biomes for you, but yeah.
Is there a lava biome? Amazing. So
Atlantis.
no performance. So there's no performance hitches, performance issues. How's the frame rate?
Rock solid.
Rock solid from Rockstar. Great. Glad to hear it. Dude, Friday cannot come fast enough. I never pre-order games here, guys. I never do, but I pre-ordered this a week ago, so not that impressive. All right. Next question. You've now finished the game, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you haven't touched the side missions yet, or you have a little bit. You've
Dabbled.
We've dabbled in the side missions.
You know, a bit of side here and there.
Dip your toe in a little SM every now and again. But
S&M.
but after you finish those side missions, do you feel like there's enough going on in the world that you will want to revisit it, that you'll feel compelled to come back to it and mess around in it, much like you're doing a GTA game, San Andreas, GTA 5. Years later, you still just want to go around and ride around on a quad bike. Can you imagine that this will be the same with Red Dead Redemption 2, the game that we're talking about now?
Yes. Mainly because, as I said, it's such a stunning world and the attention to detail is just... I mean, the way I'd see it is, you know, when Witcher 3 came out, people went, oh, wow.
Yeah.
The way they've done the storytelling, the way the world feels, this has really raised the bar. This is the first game since then that I'd say has raised the bar again. I think
Oh my God.
Breath of
Dude,
the Wild
stop
did
it.
that in one way, but really, you know, failed in voice acting, etc. This is just...
Would you say this gives you the Witcher 3 WoW experience?
Yes, yeah, it's you can see we're at the end of a generation. It feels like it. This is kind of the peak of what this generation could do. It's
To me, it sounds like it might be staggering.
staggering, well realised, authentic.
How many words is that?
Hyphens. Okay, jaw dropping.
Cool, great. So wait, after so the world is compelling. You want to go around in it, and you can imagine messing around. Is there stuff to like mess around with, like running away from the cups and that kind of thing?
The cups.
The cops.
Oh, the cups.
Tried to do it in an American accent. The cups.
Yeah, so I mean, there's always fun little things you can do in each city, and you're going to have run-ins with the law. For me personally, so there are things which I'm sure we'll go into a bit later, ruin your questions, but hunting, legendary animals, crafting, things I really dabbled in but didn't have the time in my review period to do. So for me, my main focus would be tracking those down. That's what I want to do next.
Liar's Dice is back. Is it?
What's
no.
that?
Apparently not then.
What is it?
This is the best thing about Red Dead Redemption. You could play Liar's Dice, the cup game with the dice, and you could play poker, and you could go in
So there's
mini games.
Yeah, they are them. Again, I had no time. I saw poker,
Sure.
dominoes, fishing. Fishing's a thing.
That classic game.
Yeah, good time, with your mates.
Hey guys, fancy coming around Mindset for dominoes and fishing? Where do you live?
Well, that's probably what you do. Yes, that's standard weekend for you. You can go see moving pictures. There are shows.
Oh, stop it.
Yeah,
No,
there's a
actually
lot to
stop
do.
it because we're running out of time. Amazing. No, glad to hear it. So that there's plenty of yeah, great. Thanks for that, mate. Final question, and most importantly, outfits. Are there outfits in the game? Are they fun? Did you manage to collect them? Were you compelled to collect them?
So again, crafting is the way that you gain outfits. I didn't really do a lot of that.
Sure.
But I bought bits and bobs. And one thing that I got, a weird meta game, which I got really into,
Sure.
is when you're shooting people and shoots out, your hat flies off, their hats fly out. I really enjoyed running around collecting people's hats mid-combat and just getting random
You
hats.
can pick up hats off
Yeah.
the floor and just have that hat.
Yeah.
How cool is that in a Western movie when someone like kills someone, they go, that's a nice coat. And they wear that coat. Is there that sort of thing going on?
Not coats, just hats.
Oh, well, forget it then.
But what I like about it is if there's a hat you really
So
like.
you can collect hats.
Yeah, and if
That's
there's
so
one
funny.
that you get really attached to, you think this is my jam, this is my look.
Team Fortress 2
You can-
vibes.
Pretty much, yeah. You can attach it to your horse's saddle because you have a satchel and your horse has a saddle, which has different things. You can swap between them and it will always be there. So you can come back to mission after your new hat's been shot off.
And swap out
Put
your hats.
trusty Horace the Hat, or whatever you name a hat. I don't know who names hats. On there. And
Cappy.
Cappy, there we go.
That is so cool.
It is.
Did you have a favourite hat?
I quite like the Civil
The
War
gimp
ones
mask.
because they look really stupid. You know, just the little kind of condom hats the Civil War people.
Condom hats?
Yeah, the little kind of like domey blue ones. The
Oh,
soldiers,
yeah,
the Civil
sure,
War
sure.
soldiers would have. Just it
What
looks
did you match it
ridiculous.
with?
It didn't match. That's why I liked it. Or you can get like a tombola, which is kind of
Tom
quite
Regan.
fun. A Tom Regan, yeah.
So we don't often speak outside of work. I try not to just because this is a professional relationship. But I text you while you were playing the game saying, how is it? You said, it's brilliant at all times, but it's not always fun. What did you mean by that?
I meant actually hanging out with you wasn't always fun. Zane here, I try not to talk to. No. I mean, I think there's this thing now where games are growing up and people are recognising them as an art form, and that, you know, games like What Remains of Edith Finch, heartbreaking, slow stories. It's not about getting kills.
Gone
it's about
Home.
Fun. Yeah, exactly. So many games like that. Papers, Please. And
The Vanishing of Ethan Carter.
yeah, I think he's going to keep doing that, so I'm just going to try and keep talking anyway. But it's really brave to see Rockstar do that, because Red Dead Redemption 2 is, you know, it's in the name. It's a story of redemption. But what I really love about
Everybody's gone to the Rapture.
I hope he goes to the Rapture very soon.
No more.
So obviously we know the rough outlines of the stories. This is a prequel. We know that in the original, John Marston is seeking revenge against
Yeah.
his gang. He's being held by the law. His wife and his son are being held hostage, and he has to exact revenge and track down the Dutch Van der Linde gang. Yet at the start of the game, it's quite surprising what a family it feels like. You're riding with women and children. It feels like you have morals, you have a code. And it's interesting, like in kind of things like Better Call Saul and other prequels, where you kind of know roughly where the story goes, but you're not sure what's going to go wrong, what's going to happen. And the first third kind of feels like a really interesting, fun tutorial where the whole world is your playground, full of amazing possibilities, bank heists, roaming around with your mates. You're causing a bit of trouble, but you've got a code, you know?
Yeah.
You're doing something good. And then things go sinister. Things start to go wrong. And this world that could become your playground becomes a world of danger and threat. You see guns for hire in the shadows behind every tree. You become paranoid. The whole way you see the world changes, and it's a really stressful and intense experience.
Wow.
But
So they go. This feels like a really mature move for a Rockstar game.
Yeah.
They tried to push the boundaries and go a little somewhere else with the storytelling.
Yeah, because I think they're recognising, like so many developers are, that the power of games isn't just in making you have fun, it's the interactivity and making you go through that experience. And this feels kind of like GTA 5 did as well, actually, like a TV show. It's got arcs, it moves, it changes. And
Oh my God.
that middle section is very intense and difficult sometimes to get through, because
Sure.
especially if you've accidentally caused a lot of mayhem, which I did, which made it even more stressful. So try and be good if you can for that middle section. But
And in life.
I don't know, well, no, unless you see this guy. But they contrast it really nicely as well. Things get, you know, yeah, it's just it's a really powerful, moving experience. And if I'm going to be a bit deep about it,
Sure.
it does what Rockstar does best. They're a Scottish space studio predominantly, but yet GTA is all about dismantling the American dream and what's wrong with capitalism, consumerism, and the things we strive for. And this is where the American dream starts. This is where civilization's starting to come into fruition, and the lawless lands of yesteryear are kind of falling by the wayside. So it's a really clever and
Wowee.
difficult tale, and not necessarily 100% easy to play through, but one that's really worth experiencing.
Well, Tom, you have worked me up into a veritable froth over here, dude. If I was excited for the game before, then who knows what the hell I am now. Is it just me, or does it feel like we're coming to the end of the video? But before we end, I've come up with a little game called Yay or Nay. So here's how the game works. I'm going to quick fire you some questions, and all you have to do is give it a yay or a nay.
My
I
red
don't-
dead eye is ready.
I don't know if I needed to explain that. Your red face. Okay,
Oh,
ready?
yeah.
Hunting. Is it in the game, and is it as good as the previous?
Yes, better. Side note, the skinning is brutal. You know, before they zoomed away.
Yeah.
Oh my god, no. You peel off the entire skin.
You see the skin
it's
peel
so
off.
brutal. So not for the
Whoa,
faint-hearted.
Why?
I don't know. But
Especially for a vegan like
Yeah,
you.
I know, but,
Cracking
you
an
know.
egg must be a bit like, whoa.
it's not real.
And when you have to milk that cow milking mission. All right.
You might do actually do that, by the way.
Do you actually? This game has everything. Number 2, melee combat. Is the melee fun?
Yay, but it is very good, but I kind of thought it'd be a bit more fluid. Sometimes it takes a long time in the game, weirdly, until you can get stealth kill animations.
Oh, sure.
I didn't get it for like 10, 15 hours.
Sure.
So I was like, this is very odd.
Because in that short gameplay trailer that they released, one of the things that you see is you fighting with that guy on the street.
Yes.
Is that a pre-canned like cutscene? Is
No,
that
no,
not-
you can do that, and when that works, it is good. Like sometimes you'll be, you know, running across, say, a mountain range, ducking between cover and shooting people, and then a dude will just sprint behind you and slug you, and
great.
it's basically B is on Xbox is to punch and X is to block.
Great.
And it does work and it is good, but once you've done it, it loses its appeal. And I feel like the one thing I kind of wished it had was more brutal executions.
Oh, really? Someone who didn't like skinning a second ago is suddenly going, I wish you could see him rip his heart out.
Oh yeah, you're not. You're American. I don't know if I like that voice. But yeah, no, I know. I wasn't saying you should skin all your enemies alive and scalp them, but
And take his hat and send it to his wife. And
definitely take the hat. That's the real game.
Yeah.
But yeah, mainly when you're punching people and they're on the floor, one thing you can do is just right trigger execute, just shoot them. But there's kind of 1 or 2 animations for that.
Okay.
That's a long answer. Short, yay, but could have maybe been a bit more interesting.
Great.
Ooh.
Just use that.
Yeah.
Yay or nay, is the whole world open from the get-go?
Yay.
It is.
Yeah.
You can go everywhere from the get-go.
There's a couple of places which I think are easier to get to once you can use boats, which you use occasionally in the game, but
you can literally access everywhere. Nothing's blocked off. They don't do the Rockstar thing of, this bridge is being built. You'll have to come back in 15 hours.
to be honest, I'm not 100% sure, but it seemed like anywhere on the map I could just bow it down.
Amazing.
Sometimes I just went for a bit of a wander just to clear my head, between missions.
Well,
And,
if they have actually shut places off, you're saying that they've hidden it well enough that effectively you do.
I didn't
feel,
realise
you don't
that.
feel.
I didn't feel like there were boundaries waiting for me to do X, Y, and Z, which is cool.
That's a yay in my book.
Yay.
Great. First person mode integrated well.
I'm going to say Neighbor, which is like maybe, but with a nay. Because when you go into first person, especially when you're wandering through a town, it's awesome. You can really, like in GTA 5, you can really appreciate the little touches.
Yeah.
It's really immersive. But it's very difficult to shoot. Riding just has you like, everything's juddering around and really intense, which is kind of part of the parcel of it. But I found like I just do it just to treat myself, little bits to look around.
Sure.
I'd be very surprised if anyone played much of the game that way.
But did you found yourself using it occasionally?
Yeah,
Okay,
it's just
great.
nice to just appreciate something that's really good. It just you can really appreciate the.
And you
work
weren't
and
weren't
detail.
using it to sort of test out as a reviewer to test out the first person mode. You were doing it as a game player, going, actually, right now I do feel like being a first person walking around the shop.
Yeah.
Great.
And there's one thing that I'm not sure if you've seen the trailers, but there's a really cool thing called cinematic camera mode.
Yes.
So what you can do is when you're riding towards a mission and chatting to people, you can hold that down and press B and then make sure that your gallop is right, and it will kind of just ride for you. This was really handy when I was reviewing on certain missions, because what it could do, if I set a waypoint,
go for lunch.
I pop that, go down and make a cup of tea. I come back and I'd be at my
And it's
mission.
finished the game. The credits rolling. Here you go. 10 out of 10.
Yeah, exactly. But yes. Yay?
Yay.
I'll get this eventually.
I can't remember the question either. All right. Yay or nay? Is this a Game of the Year candidate?
Is it a Game of the Generation candidate? Yay.
Really, man? Really?
Yeah.
Game of the Decade candidate?
Yeah.
Yay.
Yay.
Come on, Friday. What are you waiting for, baby?
Friday. There we go.
Friday. And finally, Red Dead Redemption has one of the most memorable endings in all of video gaming history. Does this ending stack up?
Yay.
Ah, you got me. It does.
Yeah.
Okay, great. That's it.
I mean, what I would say about it, I'm not going to spoil it, but the second it ended, I wanted to just dive back into the predecessor, Red Dead Redemption. Because it's one of those games that really enriches the original, and you just want the story to continue. You're really so invested in this world. You can see where it's all leading to, and I'm like, right, it's like diving to the next season of a TV show. I wanted to go right back in and pick up where it left off.
Oh God, I can't wait for Red Dead Redemption 3 now. Another game I have to blimmin' wait for.
Red Dead Redemptioner. You heard it here first.
Well, that's all for this video. I've enjoyed this chat just about more than any other chat we've ever had in or out of work.
Same. Yeah, these things just mean so much to me.
Guys, if you want more boiling hot Red Dead Redemption coverage, you know what to do. I'm not even going to insult you and tell you. He is.
I'm not going to insult you, but I'm going to tell you. So we have a ton of guide content out right now. If you want to check out where to find the legendary animals, hunting, some wacky side quests you need to check out. We have a full written review, of course, and we have a ton of interesting video content. So keep it locked to fandom.com.
Make sure to follow us on our socials at GetFandom. Thank you so much, guys, and that's yeehaw from me.